Hey listeners, Hit the Books is available everywhere you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, and more. Be sure to tune in each week and like, rate, and subscribe.
Alrighty, and welcome back to Season 2, Episode 31 of Hit the Books. I am joined by my co-host Michael Mackey this week. I am your co-host Tyler Huffnagel. Jesse and Ace are going to be MIA this week. Jesse out on some work, Ace out on some personal vacation, looking to get them back next week. But like we said, just me and Mackey this week. Got a huge interview coming. Special guest Ryan Hammer 9 on Instagram. Definitely someone you're going to want to stay tuned and hear what he has to say on the college basketball world. But big shout out for him for coming on, and stay tuned for that one coming up. But Mackie, I'll hand things over to you. How you been lately?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. Gambling recently hasn't been the best. We've been a little cold, or even just a little still. Honestly, we haven't really moved much. But yeah, not many times where we're missing guests. So obviously a rare occasion, but we're gonna make work with what we got. So like you said, we had Ryan Hammer coming on. Obviously, a college basketball expert, I would say. He really knows his stuff, and obviously with the Final Four coming up and the national championship game, we want to get a little insight on some college basketball knowledge outside of us here. So it should be fun. Should be a good episode.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like you said, Ryan, huge college basketball guy, so that's going to be kind of the main chunk of what we go over with him. But we'll get into a couple other things that has happened to us lately. Like you said, gambling on the card's been kind of tough. NHL card, we've been continuing to struggle there, looking to turn that around lately. But NHL playoffs coming up, that's been our bread and butter last season, and think we can turn that around this year going into it. But obviously, the NHL playoffs will get rolling April 17th, 2 weeks. Couple teams have clinched playoff spots. We've talked about the Bruins clinching a playoff spot in the Atlantic Division, also clinching the top spot in their conference. The Carolina Hurricanes clinch a spot in the playoffs this year out of the Metro. New Jersey Devils have clinched a spot in the Metro Division as well. I saw that was the Nico Hischier. I didn't know that he was actually on the team the last time the Devils made the playoffs. I thought this was going to be their first run with that duo that they have in Hischier and Hughes, but Hischier, I did find out, was on that team. What was it, 17, 18? They went to the playoffs a couple years. Like, you were
That had to be his first year. Maybe
yeah, I
his
was gonna
second
say it
year
had
in
to be
the
his first year.
organization.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
but they're
definitely
going
Jack Hughes'
back. Obviously, we've talked about them, but we've kind of gone through some of these NHL things. The Penguins have skidded a little bit lately, and I'm starting
You're getting lucky, man.
dude.
You're getting lucky. Panthers are losing.
I was gonna say if the Panthers, like tonight, they're in Toronto. I like the Leafs there.
Yeah,
Not
yeah, definitely.
I don't. And my thing with Florida is when they've been they went on that streak to get them back in the conversation, and that's when the Penguins took their dip. Right now, currently going into tonight, I know the Islanders play tonight, and I know we both like them tonight. They're sitting at 85 points with a game, one extra game played on the Penguins, 3 games up on them, and then, or actually that's. Let me pull up the wild card standings. I hate looking at all the different ones now, but Florida's right behind us at 3 points behind us. So it's a 3-point race.
Games, 3-point
Yeah,
race.
exactly. So we do have we're at least tied in games with Florida, but have a chance maybe catch the Islanders. The Islanders have been playing pretty good lately, but yeah, not much.
Islanders are playing some good hockey right now. You guys do have a game in hand on them, so that's a big game in hand. But they're rolling right now. That team looks really good. You guys look good too. It's just Jari, man. It's Jari again last night. We saw it again last night. He gave up 6, I think, and then an empty netter. But you can't be getting lit up like that, especially when you want to go into the playoffs and you're gonna have to either face the Carolina Hurricanes or the Boston Bruins. You got to figure something out.
Yeah, those if it's 3-0 against the Red Wings in the first period, what is it against Boston? What is it against Carolina? Like, you know what I mean? 6.
Like, yeah, you can get there. You guys are probably good enough to get there. But if you want to make some noise, I mean, he's got to figure something out. Maybe even throw Casey DeSmith in the pipes now, let
I
him battle it out.
I've been saying it for weeks. I feel more confident with him in there, and didn't I didn't get a chance to watch the game last night. Did the Smith start? Who started for the Penguins?
I thought it was Jari the entire way. I didn't look at the stats or anything. I can let you know right now.
Yeah, I think it was the Smith, and
Oh, it was. Wow.
yeah he
DeSmith played the entire game. Okay, so I'm wrong. I'm sorry about that. But before the game, I looked and it said Jari was playing, so I just figured it was Jari, especially with all the struggles he's had. But damn, I didn't know that.
yeah Jari's been having some. Obviously, I've been talking about him the past couple of weeks and his struggles in the first period of these games. And you said it last night. We had the Penguins in that parlay that obviously didn't hit because they ended up losing, but they go
Bruins
down.
did.
What was it? Yeah, I was gonna say Bruins didn't hit either, but the Penguins were down 2-0. I text you. I go Penguins Penguins cake the parlay, and you were like, I mean, it's never over with them, but
With them.
and yeah, and it was 3-3. Next thing I know, I look at my phone, it's 3-3. I'm like, oh sweet, Penguins must have tied it 2-2, and then 3-2, and then 3-3. I'm like, no, they let it get to 3-0, and then they decided let's go score some fucking goals in the second period, and that's how this team's been. And if you do that in the playoffs, you get down 2-3-0, even against like 2 or 3-0 against a team. Any of these teams are going to see in the playoffs. I don't like their chances to come back in these games, but
Goals are so much more important in the playoffs. I mean, you go
yeah.
down 2-3 nothing. It's very hard to come back from
Yeah,
that.
it's not your typical Tuesday night. Half the stadium's there on an away game. Like a home crowd, not really that into it. Playoffs, the crowd is everything, and if you're down,
Everyone's 110% every single play. I mean, in the regular season, they get behind you. Defense falls asleep here and there, but it does not happen in the playoffs. I mean,
exactly, yeah,
even in
exactly.
that Rangers Penguins series, we even saw a little more scoring than we were expecting. But every goal, you were like, wow, like that, like you barely even see that.
Yeah, and I see like this year, I think there's gonna be a lot of obviously if the playoffs started today, I think there's a lot of game sevens, obviously, other than the kind of typical like I'm gonna say 1-8 just because that's what you know what I mean. One versus wild card
Basically,
two
what
is
it is.
it's
Yeah.
easier to say than one versus the second wild card, but I think those you'll see a couple of those be shorter game series, but I think a lot of these games are gonna go far, and we'll have a lot of like you said, these goals are gonna mean so much, and like we saw. I mean, last year when the Penguins and Rangers played, what was the first game was what 5-4 in overtime, and you have an elite goaltender in Shesterkin, and then we had another matchup. I think it was like we've had some high scoring games, and I anticipated all that whole series to kind of be lower scoring. But I said if the Penguins needed to compete, they need to be able to score because Jari can't fucking stop anything, and that goes back to the last 2 seasons with this team, and that's how I feel coming into this playoffs. But I mean, it's tough. I'm more like I said, I actually live, if you want to say live, took a future on Texas to win the national championship like a week ago, before this last weekend, and I took it with the Rangers to win the cup, and it was like a pretty fucking nice payout. So I was like, yeah, I'll do this. This would be fun to rock for the next like couple months, little mini future parlay, and of course, obviously Texas fucking lost the next game or whatever that weekend, but I have faith in the Rangers and what they're going to be doing, but I'm so excited for these NHL playoffs. I am actually like, I didn't realize it was this close. Like, we're literally like under 3
Dude,
weeks
I'm
away.
I'm counting down the days, dude. I swear, I am so excited. I don't think I've ever been this excited for any playoff series in my entire life.
There's
This
so
is
much
like
other sports going on. I've been so caught up in March Madness, and I mean, we'll get into that, but March Madness, like, I've been hearing people saying this is actually one of the worst Final Fours in the past like 20 years.
if anything, I think it's one of the best. I mean, last year you had North Carolina, Kansas, Duke,
Villanova,
and Villanova in the Final Four.
Blue
And it's
Bloods.
boring. That's so boring. That's literally the four teams you'd expect to make it. This year
Yeah.
you have Florida Atlantic, UConn, who UConn's there, but Florida Atlantic, UConn, why am I drawing a blank right now? Miami, who you
San
never see
Diego
there,
State.
San Diego State. Three teams that you would never expect to see in the Final Four. So it's kind of cool. I mean, it's different. It's getting new teams in there. You always like to see new teams. You don't like to see the same teams every single time.
Yeah, and I mean, did you see I saw something, Florida Atlantic or San Diego State going into this year were like 48-1 and 70-1 to win it all, and one of them will be playing in the national
Yeah.
championship game is fucking insane.
It's just ridiculous. It's really cool to see, though. I really do like it.
Yeah, we'll dive kind of more into the college basketball world when Ryan gets on, but Obviously, MLB opening day comes up tomorrow. I know I'm in two fantasy leagues this year. Last year was my first year doing fantasy baseball. I actually pretty enjoyed it, but it's kind of more because there's not much going on in the summer. Like I'm in a fantasy NBA league, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't checked my lineup in 3 weeks. You're actually in that league with me. When's the last time you've checked that?
I haven't checked it since the third
Yeah.
week. Maybe I started like 0-3, I think, and I was like, all right, this is caked.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm just not good at this. Like, it's so boring because it's not boring. It's just because there's so many other sports going on. Like, I'm not setting my fantasy basketball lineup during week 13 of the NFL season. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm,
that's not what
I'm
I'm worried about.
exactly, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch the NBA every night. Like I
Yeah.
watch the NHL every night. I watch college basketball every night that it's on. So I'll be like watching. Like I'll be able to set a lineup every night if I was to play like fantasy hockey. I'm not
hmm
watching the NBA every night. I'm not thinking about
Yeah.
setting my lineup every single night. I mean, I just don't like it enough.
Yeah. This will
Is
definitely
that
be my first and last year with the fantasy
yeah?
NBA. I
I do
like, I'm
want to
going to stick to
play.
the football,
I do
football
want
and
to play
baseball.
MLB though. I've never played MLB,
It is fun. It's
and it's like
like,
something to. There's something to do in the summer, so it's something
that's
to do. And
that's the main reason I like it is because there's no, when you get to the point where base or basketball and hockey end, and it's kind of just like, well, I guess it's just baseball, and like all you can really do is bet on baseball games. Like even on nights I don't bet, I'm just like, well, at least I could do have my fantasy matchup. Like it is something to look forward to. Like
something to watch and root for.
exactly, yeah. It's kind of I mean the same idea as fantasy football. I mean you have those people out there that are just obsessed with fantasy sports and like don't even bet on games, which is, I mean I guess that's how I was in like when I was younger before I could bet, but
It's
um
crazy to see like how passionate some sports fans are when like they're not gambling on games. I'm like, oh, who do you got? And they're like, just rooting for the team, man. I'm like, you're psycho. You
yeah.
care this much? You have no money on the game.
Yeah, that is
It's really
funny, but
sad though. It's taking the joy out of the game, but you gotta love it.
yeah, dude. But in my two leagues that I'm in both of them. I'm in one for work and one with a couple of my buddies, and I got first fucking pick in both of them. Random snake draft first pick. So the first one I took Acuna, and I'm like, because he's like he's ranked number one, like he's the guy you're supposed to take at one. And then in my next league, when I got number one again, I was like, well, fuck, I don't want the same player on two teams, so I took Judge. He's technically ranked third.
How is
I
Otani
forget.
not number one if you can do both?
In fantasy baseball, Otani, you get him as a batter. Like there's literally Shohei Otani, and it says in parentheses batter, and then there's another
Oh, you
Shohei
can see.
Otani
So there's
that's
two
pitcher.
Otanis.
Yeah,
That's that's a nice way around it though. I mean, it kind of makes him useless because he's not necessarily incredible at either one. I mean, I guess he is pretty good at batting, but
yeah.
he's not the
The
best at either
bat.
one. So it's
I
like
was
it
gonna
kind
say
of takes down his value.
the batter Otani goes like top 15 versus pitching goes like top 45. But like you said, if you could
Yeah,
get him
that makes
both,
no sense.
if he was one player, yeah, he would go first overall. And
Yeah,
it's
because you can
like,
use him both ways. You can use him
yeah,
every single night.
yeah. But
That'd be pretty cool.
all right, we're gonna start a new segment here. We're gonna do a mystery ranking, rank the players in any order. Oh, Mackie, you could kind of explain it a little better. Once you rank them, lock in. Go ahead.
It's basically just you're ranking these five players blind. I give you a player, you rank them on the spot, and then I give you the next player, and so on and so on. So it's just a fun little game that we like to play. So we're gonna do a NHL. All right, your first player is Timo Meyer,
3.
right in the middle. All right, good spot. Next player, Johnny Gaudreau.
Mm,
I
4.
knew that was gonna be a tough one.
Because I wish I could switch that
Put,
already. Yeah.
putting him behind him.
Because I
All
wish I
right,
could switch it already.
number three, Rasmus Dahlin.
5.
You see now you gotta have two good players. All right, next player, Adam Fox.
2.
Last player, Jake Gensel.
Who is it?
Jake Gensel.
All right, I'll take it. That's fine. That's
That's
not.
not.
I
That's really
mean,
not.
if I.
That's not terrible. It's really not terrible. I gave you
So who was
players
it?
who like
What was the order I gave? Gensel,
you
Fox,
went.
Meyer, Gaudreau, Darlene. I really would
Yeah,
go. How would you rank them? That's pretty close to what I would probably rank them.
I'd go
Probably Fox 1 because he has the hardware.
definitely Fox one.
then
Fox
Gensel, then
one.
Gaudreau, then Meyer, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I think you only mix. You gotta switch Fox and Gensel, and then I think you switch Gaudreau and Meyer,
Yeah,
and then you're pretty. That was pretty good though. That was good.
yeah, that was pretty
Usually
solid.
you can get fucked on that.
I was gonna say if you would have said Darlene last at one, that would have been tough.
I wanted to see like where you were gonna put Meyer and Gaudreau though.
All right, I got five names coming right back to you in this order. Patrick Kane.
Oh my god. We're not going all time, right? We're just going like this season.
Yeah.
Okay. 3.
Austin Matthews.
I don't know if I want to be safe and put him at 1 or just throw him at 2 and risk it. I'm just gonna throw him at 1. I'm just gonna do it. Austin
All right.
Matthews 1.
So you have your 1 and 3 locked in.
Yep.
Evgeny Malkin.
Hmm. Who's 1? Who's 3 again?
Kane.
Oh fuck.
That's exactly what I did.
This is so tough. I'm just gonna go 4.
Leon Draisaitl.
All right, 2. Yeah. See, that's why.
Yeah,
Okay.
that I was
Good.
gonna
I
say
like
when you
that.
did
I
Matthews
like
at one,
that.
I was like, that was a good move. And then your 5 is Kaprizov.
I think I went 5 for 5.
You did go pretty fucking close.
I don't know. Well, what's Malkin's stats look like this year?
He has like 20 goals and like not that many assists. He's having a decent
Would
year, but nothing that crazy.
Would you say Kane's having a better year?
Kane was having a really good year with the Blackhawks. Like I haven't really
He
like
was. He was going off before we actually right before we acquired him.
yeah, like I wasn't really paying attention to um him much, obviously because he was on a terrible team. But I'm trying to see
He
his
has,
stats.
Kane has 21 and 33 for 54.
Interesting. Let me see if I can find Malkin. Yeah, I think you did that pretty fucking spot on.
Yeah, dude, I was so scared with like Austin Matthews because I was like, if he throws me like Campbell Carr or McKinnon or even McDavid, I thought you were gonna drop McDavid on me.
I was thinking about it. I was like, no, I don't want to make it too like a bunch of superstars.
Kaprizov at 5 is also a little disrespectful, but that's a tough list.
Yeah, I did like a lot of better players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. We gotta do that with Ace and Jesse too. That'll be something good because that's like that'll get some debate flowing too.
Yeah,
And then I like the idea of re-ranking it after. So that's gonna be
to
something we
see
want to
like
start
how
doing.
well we did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ace is gonna have something to say about it every time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. We're gonna keep those rolling, going in and week out. So, definitely stay tuned for that, and we will hand things off to our interview with Ryan Hammer. We'll just start things off. I'll kind of hand things right over to you. Tell kind of our listeners a little bit about yourself, what you do, and how you got in the space that you're in.
I'm Ryan Hammer. I first of all appreciate y'all having me on. Obviously, it's good to be here. It's a busy time. March Madness, Final Four is coming up and stuff like that. I'm excited. I grew up a college basketball fan, like a lot of other people that love the game, and I'm sure you guys too. When I was like 8 or 9, my oldest brother started going to Maryland, so I was visiting him as a young kid, going to watch like Grievous Vasquez against like Duke and North Carolina and that, and so I loved going down there. Loved watching the Maryland games, and a big fan of the program. Jimmer, Steph Curry, like that's the same time period. So fell in love with the game. And then over time, like in high school, especially into college, I became like the college basketball guy with my friends and bracket group and running it all. And I was the one who taught them about the analytics and Ken Palm and like all that nonsense. I don't want to call it nonsense,
Yeah,
but yeah, and then I just kind of took it from there and started uploading like videos onto TikTok, and then started getting heavier into Twitter and making graphics, and found out that like I really enjoy it, and I started getting better and better at editing and the content part, but also just like learning about the game more. And like I never played at a high level basketball. I was a very good athlete. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I was a good athlete. I played
yeah,
soccer, chose the soccer route, but understand the game enough to really build on that in terms of like prospecting for the draft. I did a lot of that. I still do a lot of that. And then I got connected with the right people, and things kind of just started taking off. So here I am.
That's awesome, man. So you said you do a little prospecting for the draft. What do you do for the NBA, I assume? And if you want to touch on that a little bit, that kind of piqued my interest as soon as you said that.
Yeah, for sure. So I started doing content. It was like my main focus was I called it off-season focus. So anything draft, contracts, even NFL too. I did NFL and NBA stuff. I wanted to be like I figured if I'm going to start making content, I want to have a niche, especially on like TikTok. I was like, I see an opportunity to do this to teach people about it. I started doing NFL and NBA contracts, contract clauses, how kind of works. I know a guy from my hometown, and one of my good friends is an agent, NBA agent, so I understand a lot of it through him.
Yeah.
But I got really invested into that. Started going into the draft part and their contracts and prospects, and then started going into like profiling and scouting. And now I do it all the time. I did that more than college last year, I'd say, or maybe a balance of it. But I think it's a really good bridge between NBA and college that if you know one, you know a little bit about the draft itself and prospecting. So I try to get both routes at both sides of it because I don't like when people are like, I love college, but I hate the NBA, or I love the NBA, but college is a terrible product. Like stuff like that I don't appreciate. So I like to get both sides of it.
Kind of like De'Aaron Fox. Did you hear De'Aaron Fox's comment last week or the other day?
I was pressed because like he had like a 35 piece against Lonzo in the Sweet 16. And I was like, dude, like, are you serious right now? Like, and he had a huge thing about him coming into the league was his shooting inefficiencies and his struggles and his shot form. And I was like, dude, like that was literally you. You were that exact kind of player. And like you're
It's
knocking yourself. It's crazy.
Yep.
Wait,
Yep. And
what did he
I
say?
was shocked to hear him say that. He said he can't watch a full college basketball game. I'm kind of like paraphrasing. He said the shooting's too bad. Ryan, I don't know if you know more of the quote, but I
No,
just
you
know he
got
said
it.
he
Yeah.
couldn't watch a whole game because the shooting was too poor. And Ryan just said it whenever he was at Kentucky and when he played UCLA and Lonzo, he went off for 35 plus. And I
He
mean,
was
like
never
you
a
said,
shooter. Like he was
yeah.
never a shooter and he had to work on that. And he
He
still has to work
developed
on
that.
that. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's surprising hearing a quote coming from someone that actually played college basketball. Like you'd expect like an overseas or a G League guy to say something
Right.
like that.
yeah, so I see here, are you a Texas fan? Just someone that's just who your team was this year?
No, so I am a Maryland fan, diehard Maryland
Okay.
fan. I try to put my biases to the side. Like I think I do a good job in Maryland because
Yeah.
I just realized that we're just not good any year. So it's kind of or we're usually above average, but I usually I like certain programs more because I like certain like coaching staffs and how they're built. Not Chris Beard, definitely Rodney Terry though.
Yeah.
But I definitely
Had to clarify that real quick.
like last year when I was huge on Baylor during the COVID year. God bless, they were so good. So like Scott Drew, I became a big fan of the Baylor program, still am. So I like certain teams that way, but I don't like flex towards them. Texas this year, I picked them as a Final Four team in October. I picked them as my title team heading into the tournament. I was just very high on them, so I felt like a fan at one point, dude. I
Yeah.
almost cried the other day. I was so upset.
Yeah, that was a tough matchup. I was telling Mackie before we got on or before you hopped on, I ended up taking a little future on them, and I thought it was a pretty good chance, and obviously that Miami team, they came to play. We'll get into them in a little bit, but you said you big NFL guy, more just basketball. You said you used to do a lot in the NFL space. You still big NFL guy?
Yeah, I'm a diehard Jets fan, season ticket holder for like 6, 7 years now. So big that my dad even put the season ticket onto my own tab now. But so I've been going big Jets fan, big NFL fan. Like I was doing content and then I just started to kind of like get into what I like best and what I do best is basketball stuff anyway. But just like everyone else, fantasy football, the whole nine. So yeah.
Yeah. So you said it, Jets season ticket holder. What do you think coming into this year? You obviously that young core that you guys had last year, but we all know the age-old question: who's going to be the quarterback in New York next year?
It's gonna be Aaron Rodgers. We're just waiting for it. Like I think it's the second and a third. The second could turn to a first if he plays enough and we win a certain amount of games, which I hope it does. I mean, outside of quarterback, you could argue we have the best core. We have the best roster in the entire not core, best roster in the entire NFL outside of QB. So I'm excited. I'm not. I'm like cautiously optimistic just because like we're gonna screw it up somehow, right? But then again, I'm thinking like you know what? Maybe not. This is a completely new regime. Every player is new. Every coaching staff member is new. Like GM. So I have hope that we're gonna be good. I know we're gonna be on a lot of primetime games, so that's good enough.
Yeah.
I like
And
that you're like optimistic about it because I have a lot of Jets fans too, and they're all just like, "Yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl now," and I'm like, "Yeah, you guys got a lot better, but that division is still tough, along with the entire
Yeah.
AFC." So I mean, I like that you're optimistic about it. You're not getting your hopes like all the way through the roof already.
It's ridiculous. Like the Chiefs are obviously the Chiefs. Even like teams like the Chargers are still making improvements. I love Justin Herbert. The Bengals are awesome. The Bills, the Dolphins are still going to be good, even though like whether you like Tua or not, it doesn't matter. Like they're still going to be
yeah, they're
good.
still there.
That's already I just named like 5 teams. Like it's just crazy.
Loaded AFC, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
and I wish we were in the NFC sometimes. It's wild.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was gonna say, and I'm obviously Mackie. He's from New York, but Cowboys fan, and I'm from
yeah.
Pittsburgh.
Don't
Obviously, I'm a
judge.
Steeler
I'm not.
fan.
I'm good.
So
No, I get it. I get it.
yeah, so I mean, I'm dealing with the thick of this AFC. You guys are getting one of these top quarterbacks. I'm trying to hope my guy Kenny can make another step and not fall into a sophomore slump. But
Yeah, I
we'll
was
have
at
to
the.
see about that.
I went to Pittsburgh with my brothers and my dad for the Jets at Steelers this year, and thank God we won. We pulled it out. We didn't blow the lead, but it was so awesome. I've never been there. First of all, the stadium's great. The city, everyone loves Steelers. It's awesome. It was so crazy seeing Kenny Pickett come out as a Steeler for the first time, like at playing as the QB1 in a regular
Yeah,
season game. It was so cool, and I was like, "We're gonna lose this game, but this is very cool."
and what was it? That was a low scoring final score, wasn't that like a 13-10? It was low.
I think it was low 20s, I want to say, because I remember we scored again. Brees scored on the goal line at the end of the game. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think we had like
Yeah, I think it
a
was.
10-point lead going into halftime, and then we blew it, but then we scored at the end. So,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now I know you're right. And that was still Zach Wilson, right?
oh yeah, big time.
Yeah,
That
that
was
was.
I think he caught a touchdown pass that game. Did the Philly special that
Yeah,
game?
yeah,
Yeah.
he did the yeah, yep, you're right. I know exactly the play you're talking about, but all right, we will get into the world of college basketball. You said it's kind of your bread and butter. Sweet 16, we had number 9 FAU take down Tennessee 62-55 on Thursday. I don't know who you had in that one. I know me and Mackie, we both had Tennessee in this matchup. I don't know which way were you leaning. These Owls are buzzing. They're obviously the Cinderella run that everyone wants to see, and they got to the Final Four. But I don't know how you kind of have gauged them or how far you had them going in the tournament. I had them as a first round exit against Memphis, but kind of wanted to get your opinion on this team and where they what you think their potential is going into this weekend.
Yeah. I'll say that I had Memphis in the Final Four, but I said it the whole time. Whoever wins Memphis FAU is probably going to make a run. Memphis is more poised to make that run. I guess not, or maybe they could have made the same run, but I don't want to take credit away from FAU. FAU is awesome. The fact they got a 9 seed, I was prepared for, but I thought it was pretty disrespectful, especially after Murray State getting a 7 last year with a very, very similar resume, both very strong in KenPom, have some really good wins in a very good conference. Conference USA probably better than the Valley Conference that Murray State was in. I guess maybe even if you think about it, but nonetheless, like they were the quality of a 5, 6, 7 seed, 100%. They're proving that right now. Like you said, they're buzzing. They definitely benefited off a relatively weaker path, to be completely honest. Like when you look at their path, they played Memphis. They shouldn't, like, whatever. They won the game, whatever. FDU, fine. They cleaned through that. They take care of business. Tennessee, who played Duke very well, still, like, they played Duke well, and that was it. I don't think that they were going to. I think I picked Tennessee technically to win the game because I thought their physicality would lay a little more lumber into FAU. But like Tennessee's clearly not a quality 5 seed, or I guess they're a 4,
Yeah,
quality
they were
4
4.
seed
Yep.
whatsoever. So, and then Kansas State, I don't think like Marquise is awesome. I just think all those teams, Kansas State and FAU especially, benefited off a really weak region and it kind of just toss up, right? With Purdue going down and all these things. So I think they benefited from that. I still think they're very good. I don't think they're going to win. I'm going to take San Diego State. I guess I'll get ahead of that, but I think the Aztecs are going to win. I don't know. But then again, I did the same thing with Tennessee. It's a very, very similar style team. I do think San Diego State's got a little more of an offensive threat with Darian Trammell and stuff. But FAU's fun. I saw them play against K-State at the Garden the other day. I just don't like. I don't know what it is. I can't get myself onto them to keep winning and like contend for a title right now. But they're there. So
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I do think San Diego State is the play on Saturday, or yeah, Saturday at 6 o'clock, or for us on Eastern time. But yeah, I like San Diego State in this spot, Mackie. I don't know which way you were leaning on this game, but just because he kind of alluded to his pick, I figured I'd jump in there and kind of if you agree or disagree.
Yeah, I don't really know. I definitely do kind of lean San Diego State. I just wasn't very high on them at the beginning of the tournament, but after the first few rounds, I kind of started jumping on their wagon, and they've been rolling. So I really do like this team. Definitely just not a matchup you were expecting to see in the Final Four. I don't really pay attention to the Mountain West much because they're actually pretty notorious for losing in March. And I saw something that was like over 3.5 Mountain West tournament wins, and they cashed it by themselves, and every other team lost. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, this team's definitely against the odds right now. But I do really like this team, and it's a nice matchup for them. It's gonna be two really hard-working teams. San Diego State's more of a defensive-minded team, and they've been getting by more with their defense. But I do like them to get by in this game as well.
Yeah, so I think we're all consensus there. We'll get into this other game. Obviously, we have number 5 Miami and number 4 UConn. This is a little bit more of the big name matchup that we're kind of used to. Obviously, not Miami, but UConn gets back to the Final Four after their little slump of the past couple of seasons over the past 8 or so years. I think since 2014 is the last time they got back. But Ryan, I want to get your take on this game. Miami, Nigel Pack, or Wong, they got everyone buzzing for them. Miller. Do you think Miami can take down this UConn team?
They definitely can. I think it takes like they didn't really have a perfect game against Texas. They had a perfect like last 10 minutes. If they have a they had a perfect game against Houston. They played brilliantly from the start. They just came out and they was like, oh boy, this is not good for the Cougars. They're running the score up, keeping the game open, and then they just started to stretch it out. That's the type of game they need to play against UConn, not in terms of like stretching it out because UConn can play any style anyway, but make it how they're comfortable doing it. And basically a perfect game. I think it's going to take to beat them. Norchard Amir is pretty foul happy at times. If he gets into foul trouble, it's wraps. Like they don't have big depth already with him alone. And especially behind him, if he is in foul trouble and sit in the bench between Sanogo and Klingon, like it's going to be really tough. I look at the guards, love the Miami guards. I think they're awesome. Again, like I Texas was my pick, but it's impossible not to root for Miami when you watch them play. It's literally impossible. Isaiah Wong and Nigel Pack are awesome. Jordan Miller, consider him a guard also. He's awesome. But then UConn has Tristan Newton, Andre Jackson, Jordan Hawkins to match it, especially defensively. Like I think Andre is going to be able to take care of Jordan Miller to an extent, to limit him to where it's like, okay, he's not shooting 100% from the
I was
field,
gonna
scoring
say,
20, 25. Like that stuff is
That
crazy.
was incredible.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, they need that to beat UConn, and because of guys like Andre Jackson, they're not going to get it. Is what I anticipate. It's a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going to take UConn. I don't think anyone. This should be the hardest game for UConn, right? Maybe they get some title nerves if they get there, but they should be able to win both games by double digits. To be honest.
yeah, I like that pick. I was leaning once Texas went down, I kind of jumped right on. I like UConn to finish this thing out and kind of an unexpected. I mean, obviously the most unexpected Final Four we've had in a while. No top 3 seeds making it. I kind of jumped on UConn, and that's a team I think is going to take it. Mackie, I know obviously we've been high on this Miami team. We were riding them a lot this year on our cards, and for good reason. Who do you got in this Final Four game? Miami, UConn.
Yeah, I have UConn as well, but like with the value on Miami, I mean 5.5 point underdogs. What's their money line sitting at? Plus 205. I think that's definitely more of the value play. But I mean, looking at these two matchup, I mean, who's stopping Sanogo down low? He's just been too dominant. And coming into last week, I thought that Drew Timmy was gonna have the best chance to maybe contain him a little, and they'd have a chance to just like keep him out of the paint or something. I don't know, but uh, he just absolutely wiped them. Timmy got in foul trouble a little early, and they just took off. I mean, UConn's just too good. I think they were just shooting the lights out of the ball too. So if they're shooting the ball anything like in that Elite Eight game, I really think that they'll just walk through this one too. They haven't had a game in this tournament that's been within 15 points, so they've been really dominating the competition. I really just think that they're the best team left in this tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, if we're kind of all on San Diego State UConn national championship, Ryan, who you got going with UConn too?
Yeah, I ride with UConn. I think it's they're gonna end up winning. It'll still be an entertaining 3 games. I hope at least some capacity. I like San Diego State a lot. Like talking about the Mountain West. Last year, I was like a massive. I always have been honestly since I think I was 18 when Nevada played Loyola in the Sweet 16. I was big on Nevada that year to get to the Final Four. But Mountain West is good. It's an underrated conference. Like they don't succeed in the tournament until now in the last few years. But last year I picked San Diego State to win a bunch of games to beat Kansas and stuff like that. And they should have at least beat Creighton in round 1. They botched that game, but they brought everyone back. They brought their defense back. They added the offense they need. I was very excited. I actually picked them with Texas as one of my Final Four teams in October. Didn't pick them in the bracket because why would I do that, right? Um, but I was high on them. I've been high on them forever. Like I think a lot of my audience understands that. They always hear me talking about San Diego State way too much. I'm very happy they're there. I got some gear. I'll definitely rep at the game so that I can root for them a little bit now that like even though I don't got them in the bracket and stuff like that. They can definitely keep the game kind of close. They're so physical and they have a really good paint presence to compete. But I think the shot makers is going to be where it comes down to it. Where Darian Trammell is awesome. Lamont has stepped up this tournament. Matt Bradley has not stepped up, to be honest, for most of the tournament. But I just think Jordan Hawkins and the rest and the bigs obviously are going to be able to take the reins. So
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
I
agree.
like that. I was gonna say I agree 100% with everything you just had to say, and I think UConn's gonna be my obviously like I said once Texas went down, I kind of jumped on UConn there, but you also said you're a big NBA guy. Obviously, you said you do a couple things with them, and content wise, wanted to get into some of the. Obviously, we have the playoffs getting underway April 15th. That's just about 2 weeks away. A couple teams clinching: Bucks, Celtics, Sixers, Cavs. Out in the East, the West, a little bit more of a shakeup. Any team you're liking, who you taking out East in the NBA?
yeah, it's tough. The East is a whirlwind. Like it's crazy. The Knicks might have a home series again, and this and like good for them. I'm not. I don't like the Knicks because in New Jersey. I grew up. All my friends are Knicks fans, and I'm not. But they play hard. They play well. I'll take the Bucks right now. Like I feel like every time, ever since they won a title, they kind of just fly under the radar. It's like, oh yeah, they're just one of the two or three best teams in the league. You know, it's simple as that. And for that reason, I think it's underwhelming when they win. So people are like aren't ready for it and don't even like think about it enough. But I think they're awesome. So I'm robbed the Bucks.
Yeah, I like that for a good reason. And then obviously you point out West, the team that I've been liking all year is the Denver Nuggets. Do you think who do you like out West? Who do you have as your NBA Finals matchup?
I would love to see the Nuggets succeed. Everyone that talks Jokic doesn't deserve to win MVP again. It's so stupid. Like I would love to see them go to the title, to go to the championship. I would love to see them go to the finals. Even if they lost in the finals, he would
Mm-hmm.
still get shit for it because people would be like, "Oh, lost in the finals, couldn't get it done." I'm like, dude, like grow up. It's the same thing with like LeBron haters, where people are just like, "Man, this guy's the worst. He lost in this game. He lost in this game." I'm like, yeah, right. His other wins don't matter.
Yeah,
Um,
the four whatever rings don't really matter. So they look at the other ones whenever he was playing a super team by himself in Cleveland.
I would love to see the Nuggets succeed. It's hard to get my mind off the Clippers, even though I know they're not going to get to the finals. I have to. I'd probably go roll with the Nuggets just because when I look at the other teams, I see too many vulnerabilities in other teams. So
Caleb Love hitting the portal. Where do you think that he could land? Obviously, it's a huge name. Anyone would be lucky to have him. I think. So what are you thinking there?
yeah, I think it's like a. I think teams are coaches will be cautious because if they know how things went down in North Carolina this
Yeah.
year, there's a locker room
hmm
thing. People whether they want to deny it or not with RJ Davis. Like I know it
It
happened. We don't have to go
happened.
into that. It
It
happened.
happened.
I think he's going to be at Mizzou or Alabama. Alabama, he has connections to Nate Oates. He's represented by who represents Nate Oates. He has a lot of connections. Very offensive team. They love guard play. They're going to lose Quinterly. They're going to lose Brandon Miller. They might lose even like Bediako and stuff. So between like Sears, who I think should be there again, Jaden Bradley, and like guy like him, that could be a really good fit offensively. And I know he's from Missouri. He got heavily recruited by Missouri, and Dennis Gates loves the transfer portal. Missouri's like saw last year when they went to this year and they turned it around pretty fast. But I'd expect Missouri or Bama. But if he goes somewhere else, wouldn't be crazy surprised, but it should be one of those two.
Yeah, it'd be cool if he went to Bama, especially with all their star talent leaving. It'd be a nice little place for him to go.
He just might need to set a new like change of pace, new setting, change scenery. But I don't know. It's just like they let Hubert Davis let Caleb Love play Caleb Love ball way too much, and like it put him in a situation where he thought he had to, and he kept doing it. But if he gets into a system where they're like, "Listen, we need you to play in the system," he can be a very good two guard, starting two guard, even like a six man. I think that'd be amazing for him. But we'll see.
I agree. I think he got a little way too wild a few times this season, just like doing whatever he can with the ball. But I think he's put him in a nice system, and I think you're 100% correct.
Yeah.
One other thing I wanted to bring up, um, point 3 seconds left. SDSU Creighton. Was that a foul or no?
Yeah, it was a foul. People were upset about like I understand a lot of sides. First of all, no one is right or wrong. Like you can say some people are like, oh, the refs called it, so it's right, or like the refs are stupid, it's wrong. It like it's all relative. It's all refs are human beings. They're always gonna make mistakes, or they're always gonna like change. They're not gonna call everything perfectly consistent. People are upset. I
It's part of
understand
the
because they're
sport.
Right, and they're letting everything get a lot very physical. It was a very physical game because that's how San Diego State plays. That's how the tournament's kind of been going. It seems that they're letting a lot go. But like I don't like to look at fouls late game. I not saying that refs should have tighter whistles in late game. I'm just saying that I look at it in isolation, that incident. I don't say, oh, they missed that one 10 minutes ago. Like, okay, but like you weren't upset 10 minutes ago, so why are you upset? Like, I think it was a foul. He did enough to like
Alter the
put
shot.
Trammell, yeah, and like people are like, oh, like that's a foul. You can't call that at the end of the game. Like, no, if you can call it 10 minutes ago, you can call it now. And also, like Ryan Nemhard got absolutely burned into the lane. Like, he's not the greatest defender. I understand that, but like that's why he ended up fouling him, like because he got burned. So it's
Got beat
I don't
clean.
know.
Yeah.
I should have just answered yes, sure, it was a foul, but I get worked up because people are getting so upset about it. I'm like, well, they had a bunch of instances. They shouldn't even been in the game. They gave the ball away to Baylor Shireman under the basket with like 25, 30 seconds
Yeah.
left, whatever it was. Like
Yep.
that shouldn't have been a basket. So it's a trade off. Like it happens.
Yeah, I'm on the same side as you. I think it's pretty ridiculous. Everyone arguing that, but it's nice to hear your little insight on that.
It would have been cool to see UConn Creighton in the finals though, because that's probably the only team out of those
Big East.
four that could have beaten UConn in the final. And like, oof, that would have been crazy. Yeah,
And
exactly. That Big East game. Oh my God.
and
Yeah, I
that's not
would have.
really the only games Connecticut's lost this year. I think they're undefeated outside of the Big East, or maybe one loss or something. But
I think they started off 14-0. They from the 31st when they lost to Xavier, I think it was, they lost like 6 out of their next 8, starting with Xavier on New Year's Eve, I remember it was, to basically start the new year. And then they just like completely found their groove. It was ready to start a conference play. You're right. I think pretty sure they haven't lost a game since, other than Big East play. But yeah, they're unbelievable. They were obviously a number 1 caliber team when they were 14-0, beating down on
yeah.
everybody. I think they were at PK 85 out in Oregon, but and it's pretty evident that like they were one of the best teams in the country. Ken Palm loves them, like everything loved them except for the selection committee. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Mac, you got anything else for him?
No, that's it. Yeah.
Ryan, you got anything for us? Any questions? Anything you want to run by us, or we good to get rolling here? It's up to if you got anything though. Feel free to cut in.
no, I'm good, man. Whatever you guys want to do, I'm good. So
Awesome. Big shout out, everyone. Be sure to go check him out on Instagram at RyanHammer9. If you want to plug your TikTok, is it the same as your Instagram?
yeah, same thing, same thing.
Awesome. TikTok, same thing. RyanHammer9. Be sure to give him a like, follow wherever you're at on social media. Wanted to say thanks again for joining. One of the best guys going in the social media game for college basketball and the NBA. Definitely thanks for joining, and look forward to anything we might do in the future. Thanks again.
Of course, always down to do it again. Appreciate y'all for having me a ton. It means a lot. Very kind words, but I see y'all going the same way. So, but I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks again. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. And you got my cell number if you need anything.
Sweet, we'll do. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming on, man.
Appreciate it.
See you guys.
All right, and special thanks to our guest Ryan Hammer again for joining us this week. Be sure to like, follow, do everything. Check him out on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You heard him say it, same on all platforms. Ryan Hammer 9. Thanks again to him for joining us. We're gonna get into a little bit of NFL news. We saw via Twitter Lamar Jackson reports that arose. The tweets from him about requesting a trade on March 2nd from Baltimore. The Ravens obviously did not end up going through with those requests. Obviously, him still being a Raven. Question mark still flying about where will Lamar play next year. Keep seeing all these posts, kind of the best fits for Lamar Jackson, whether it's the Jets, the Falcons, the Colts. A lot of these spots. I've even seen the Dolphins. Obviously, we've heard that one circling around for a couple of seasons as we thought Lamar was going to sign there. But, Mackie, where you think Lamar's going? I think a very sleeper team for Lamar for the reason of the additions that they made on the coaching staff with Shane Steichen, and they have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield as the Indianapolis Colts. I like what they have on the offensive line. I think the new coaching staff, what they were just able to do with Jalen Hurts, not saying, Jalen and Lamar are the exact same player, but pretty similar. And the play style that they like to use their legs to extend plays, and obviously Lamar being a super freak athlete. I think the Colts, it would be a sleeper spot for Lamar to go to. I know it's another team in the AFC, but a weaker division. I'm not saying they're the weakest. I think the Jags are on the come up in that division, but the Titans and Texans, I think they're years away from doing much. And I think the Colts would be a very interesting spot for him, but another one that I think would be a great spot is the Detroit Lions, and that gets him out of the AFC and into the NFC and kind of maybe could make his mark on that side of the bracket. I don't know what you think, where he's going to go,
I
but
I don't like that. I don't like him going to the line. I like Jared Goff, dude. I know you're not big on him, and
I like
it's
Goff,
easy
but
to.
I don't think the Lions
But
are so. I think the Lions would make that move.
I don't think they would,
Really?
just because what's the whole thing around Lamar Jackson? Why is he not getting paid right now?
Yeah,
He's
true.
injury prone. Are you gonna spend $300 million on a quarterback when you have a healthy one who just led you to 8 wins in a weak division next year? Like, that's a playoff team next year.
Oh yeah,
If
absolutely,
it's not a division winner, it's a wild card team.
absolutely.
Why are you gonna throw away a safe option when Lamar's not gonna win you a Super Bowl anyway? Lamar's not good enough to go into Detroit and win that Lions team Super Bowl. When you have a safe option with Jared Goff and you can keep developing that team around Jared Goff in a weak division, rather than spend $300 million on a quarterback who could be injured in the third game of the season, and you don't have him anymore.
Yeah.
So that I'm against that one, but
So what do you think about the Colts option?
I like him in Indianapolis. Who are they rolling with right now? Sam Ellinger?
Yeah, like that's what I mean. They don't
So
really have an option.
do they
They're
do they
drafting. They're
have
drafting a
do
quarterback.
do they have faith in Sam Ellinger? I don't know if they're trying to develop him. I know he wasn't an early draft pick. Yeah, it's a good spot to go. I mean, it'll keep the Colts relevant. I know they had a really bad season this year with um hope sides of winning that division. Obviously, the Jags came out of nowhere, and Trevor Lawrence became an actual go to first overall pick. But that'll definitely keep the Colts up there in the question to win the division. Like you said, the Titans and the Texans Titans are trending in the wrong direction. Texans are still a few years away. But if the Colts want to stay relevant, the Jaguars are good now. They're a good team. They're 10, 11, 12 win team every single year for the next few years now with Trevor Lawrence playing the way he is. So Colts want to stay relevant. If they don't want to have a break of a year and try to sorry, I just saw something. And try to still stay relevant, they should really go after that. I like this play.
I'm looking at
What
what
are
the
their
Colts
odds?
are to.
I was gonna say
I was
there's a
literally gonna,
graphic. There's a graphic. It has the Falcons at 1, and I don't like that.
I was
Actually,
just, I'm trying to look
I
up
don't
the
not
odds
like it.
for. I'm trying to look up the odds for these teams to win the Colts maybe to win the division right now because I know the Jags are going to be obviously up there, but I'm looking at the divisional winners right now. Let
I'm
me
gonna
see what the
guess.
Colts are.
I'm gonna guess
Colts are
Jags are probably like. Wait, can I guess Jags?
the,
They gotta be like
yeah,
400.
go ahead. Minus 150.
No way. How is that? What are the Colts?
Plus 500.
Are they gotta be second.
No. The Titans at plus 350.
Bro, what?
How's that make sense?
Wait. They gotta know something we don't.
The Titans at plus 340.
They have to know something that we don't.
I mean,
That makes zero sense.
unless the Titans are going after some big name quarterback I haven't heard of, and all of a sudden have all these weapons I've never heard of. I mean, they're trading away Derrick Henry.
You're going for a value play there. You're definitely going for the Colts. Plus
Yeah,
500 is crazy.
I mean,
found
I'm kind of
these-
just banking on them getting a good quarterback and stepping in and kind of taking over that division from a young Trevor Lawrence, even though I think Trevor's now going to be a top 7, if not higher, quarterback in the NFL from this point on.
I wouldn't go higher just yet, but I'd say 7, right around 7. Lamar's I found this graphic for his odds. Falcons are in first at plus 250. I like that, but I like Desmond Ridder to at least get a chance. I mean, I guess he's kind of had a chance, but I mean,
my
he
thing
was
with
drafted
Atlanta,
pretty high. Was he drafted like 20th overall?
no, well, he was he
Was it
second?
the Pickett draft?
Yeah,
Pickett
he was after.
Okay, so he
Pickett was the
second in
only.
the second round. He was second quarterback taken, though, I think.
Yeah, Pickett was the only quarterback in the first round of that draft. And
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So
But
I don't know. The thing with Atlanta, they keep getting all these guys. Who's the guy? Who's the other dude that just signed there? They just got Jesse Bates, and they're kind of adding guys all over the field. Just
Okay.
kind of like,
Look at the
Go ahead.
division.
huh? Oh yeah,
at the
that's what I
division.
mean.
What do you think I said?
True. That's the thing. I guess that's the point with Atlanta. I guess that's why they're the favorite. I've been saying it all year. If you're a free agent quarterback, just go to the NFC
Go
South.
go to the NFC South, exactly.
And that's what Lamar should. I mean, I guess, yeah, that does make the most sense.
You get to play the Bucks, Tom Brady-less Bucks twice a year. You get to play the
Lamar
Carolina.
Lamar
I guess
gets
Panthers
the Lamar gets to renew his matchups against Baker Mayfield twice a year if he goes to the Falcons.
I bet you that's something he would want to do twice a year is play Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
You're
he's
on the
like, all
field
right, I've
about
already
as much as
beaten.
possible.
I'd love to see their head-to-head record.
But yeah, I like the Colts play. I'd like him to go to the Colts. I don't like the Lions at all. I really do like Jared Goff. But it's
So let me
whoever
hear
gets
the odds that
Lamar,
you
I mean.
have. Atlanta's the first at plus 250. Go through them.
Colts 300, Commanders plus 450. Commanders are going with Heineke right now, I think.
No, he's a Falcon.
I-
He signed with the Falcons.
I'm shocked.
Heineke signed with the Falcons.
So who are they rolling with?
Howell. Sam Howell.
Carson? No.
Wentz left. Where's Wentz?
No way they're rolling with Sam Howell to start the season.
That's like who they're going with to start the year.
Yeah, but then you're going from Baltimore to DC. Like, you might as well just fucking not even go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I now that you said the Falcons,
yeah,
I
so-
honestly think it's gonna be the Falcons.
Commanders
I think
450,
that just makes the
Titans
most
750. I mean, just
Who's after
Yeah.
the Titans at 750?
yeah. I mean, I'm sure they're just going Malik Willis, right?
Yeah, and that's not a good move. I can't believe, dude. Like the Titans, I don't know what their plan is, and the fact I'm still thinking about how I just saw them at higher odds than the Colts to win that division.
They gotta have something in their back pocket. Mike Vrabel's
I
doing
think
something.
I think they're basing the Colts going off of Ellinger all year. Whether they draft a quarterback or not, they're banking on Ellinger being the starter for the majority of the year. You know what I mean?
And if he is, then these are good odds.
Yeah.
But I mean, how long do you roll with a quarterback that's not producing wins?
Exactly.
And he just
Probably
got kind of
especially when you're
got
not a high
thrown
draft
around
pick.
last year. Sorry, I just cut you off.
No, you're good. I mean, but especially when you're not a high draft pick, your leash isn't very long. You lose your first 3 games. There's not a good chance you start week 4.
Yeah, I mean, like
Especially if you got
Exactly.
a first round
Brock
quarterback
Purdy-
right behind you.
Brock Purdy comes in and he, off the bat, he's lights out. If he's not playing the next game. He had
Yeah.
to be lights out off rip because you're Mr. Irrelevant. You have one shot to prove yourself, and he took it. But you have a guy like Sam Ellinger again. Probably I think he was a second round draft pick, maybe even later.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you have a tighter leash. You don't have the leash that like these guys like Baker Mayfield did when he first came in. Just like even like Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson. These guys had long leashes. Guy like Sam Ellinger, you can't mess up that often.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see where this happens. Obviously, this is going to be the talk of the offseason to see where he ends up. And do you even think the Jets are in play? I mean, I know the Jets have said they're kind of out on him. Same with the Patriots. The Patriots were in and now they're out.
I think I think there's a higher possibility than we think that this Rodgers thing falls through and Lamar goes to the Jets. I think if it falls through, 100% Lamar goes to the Jets. The Jets want to spend the money. They need the quarterback. So they will do if Rodgers falls through, they're going to do everything in their power to get Lamar. But
I agree.
like what's going on? I mean, it's not
people
the
keep
NHL.
people keep saying the NFL or people keep saying the Jets don't want to commit to Lamar. I'm like, they should at least talk to him and say that. Like they should be like, hey, if this thing falls through with Aaron, like he's not a Jet yet. Like if the Packers are playing hardball and want too much, we'll take you over the 38 or 30. How old's Rodgers? 38, 39, 40?
Regardless, he's up there.
Yeah, like we'll take Lamar Jackson. Like I'm not saying you know what I mean. That's who I'd rather. I don't honestly know who I'd take over those two guys going into next year. It's kind of a toss up with the injuries with Lamar and the age of Rodgers. I'd probably take Rodgers. I don't know. It's kind of tough. I don't know. I don't really want to hold myself to that decision right now. But I think the Jets should at least say like if this doesn't go through, hey, we're coming to get you. Like we will get you. You will be a Jet next year if Aaron Rodgers is not. But does Lamar want to hear that? Like, oh, you want the 38-year-old
He
dude over
wants
me?
he wants guaranteed right now, and that's probably why
Exactly.
they're not saying that to him. But dude, if the Jets don't get Aaron Rodgers, like Jets fans will riot if they don't have a quarterback next year. Like these guys, like they've been through so much, and then they're told they're getting Aaron Rodgers. They get all these pieces for it. Literally, the odds are like 700 at this point.
Could you imagine Zach Wilson, week 1 starter at
That's what
MetLife?
I'm saying, dude.
That
That would be
place
so
would
Jets. That would be
explode.
so Jets, though. That'd be so Jets.
It honestly would. The whole team around him is just loaded.
No,
And
but
then just
I think their front office they're bought in at this point. So I think if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, they will do everything in their power to get Lamar Jackson.
yeah,
That'd be cool.
and they
I'd like Lamar in the Jets.
yeah, that would be cool. It's just another AFC fucking team, like you said. I think Atlanta's the play. It's so tough. I mean, I guess he's not he's not a true free agent. So, or is he? Like with this offer sheet thing, can any team can offer him, right? Like it doesn't need to be a trade, right? Like I know there's some 2 first-round picks thing. Like if they agree to it, that team has to give up 2 first-round picks.
It's definitely not like they can't just offer
Just
him
sign
a
him for
contract.
nothing. Yeah.
You can't just offer him a contract. I'm not really sure what the clauses are around it, but I mean, there's definitely some attachment to the Ravens where they're gonna get something out of like they're getting collateral.
Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this because obviously, like you said, when the Rodgers domino falls, I think we're gonna see what happens with Lamar, or if that happens first, I think it's just a big waiting game with all these big name quarterbacks and still obviously a couple other guys that are on the board, but big name, another one of the big names of the offseason was Derek Carr. He found his home. I thought that was they were all kind of gonna go at the same time. I'm not saying Derek Carr is even in that class with them, but quarterbacks usually go like 1, 2, 3, like kind of in the same span. They like to pick their teams and like. Once Rodgers is a Jet, that team's off the board, and then would be when Lamar goes to Atlanta or wherever. But like I said, this is going to be the talk of the offseason in the NFL and where these guys are going. If they're going anywhere, both of them could literally end up staying in Green Bay and Baltimore, and it would be, we'd just be talking about it for weeks on end for no reason. But
Well,
there's a likely
Aaron Rodgers-
possibility of that.
Aaron Rodgers will not be a starting quarterback in Green Bay this year. I think he's
No, he'd
that
retire.
clear. He'd retire 100%. If this falls through with the Jets, I think he'd retire. But imagine seeing Lamar play for the Ravens week 1.
I don't even want to see that. I'm a
I
Steelers
don't-
fan. I can't wait to get him out of this division. I'd be pissed if it doesn't go through.
Here's another question: what do you think of the Ravens this year without him?
Not good.
How many wins?
Under 6.5.
Because think about it, like they were kind of without him a lot this year too.
Like I'm taking like under 7.5, 6.5 wins on them.
You're
I don't
Probably
think Huntley
starting,
can do
right?
it. I don't think Huntley can do it a full year.
I think their win total will be set at 6.5, and I think they'll either get 6 or 7.
Yeah. You'll be sweating
all-
that one out week 18.
You're in a tough division too.
And the Browns just got another year with Deshaun Watson. Like if they lose Lamar, they're the worst team in the division.
Yeah, definitely the worst team in the division. But the thing about that division is that any team can beat anybody.
I was gonna say any team could win that division. Any team could be the worst in that division. It wouldn't surprise me. Like the Bengals are one Joe Burrow ACL tear again from them being probably one of the worst teams in the division when they have Kyle Allen under center. You know what I mean? But when that's with anyone. Injuries kind of fuck everything. But alrighty, I think that is gonna do it for us this week on Hit the Books. Thank you for listening. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, review, rating, wherever you're listening. Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you're showing your love. It really goes a long way for us. Make sure you're staying tuned to the social media accounts for all of our plays. Definitely going to want to stay tuned for the college basketball cards this weekend as we get into the Final Four and National Championship game on Monday. That's going to do it for me. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Mackie, we'll hand things back off over to you.
Yeah, Final Four National Championship coming up this week. Obviously, two of the biggest championship kind of I look forward to all year. Obviously, March Madness is the biggest tournament we look forward to all year. So, really excited for that. Obviously, we're going to have some plays out on that. And we just got the MLB season coming up starting tomorrow. So, obviously, summer comes in, a lot of dull times come, but we still got the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. coming up. So we got a few more months of that. Yeah, just getting on by.
Yeah, and like you said, MLB gets started up tomorrow. We didn't necessarily do our normal preview that we do. I'm not going to lie, not necessarily the biggest baseball guys, just kind of your casual baseball fans. So definitely going to be bringing you some baseball talk. Going to wait till next week when we have Jesse and Ace back on, get a little more convo and a little more opinions going there. But obviously, as we get a couple chances to watch some of these games, I know we said we have a couple good matchups. I sent you the one. You get Scherzer and Alcantara. I get Mitch Keller versus Hunter Green. What a matchup I get to watch. But like I said, we'll dabble in the MLB throughout the season. We're obviously going to have some fun promos and stuff like that to get us rolling in the world of baseball and get some different followers from that from that following of baseball. But like I said, that's going to do it for me.
And that's going to do it for us on this episode of Hit the Books. Thank you to everyone who tunes in each and every week. Without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here. So please like, share, and subscribe wherever you can. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for our plays each and every night in the NHL, NFL, MLB, NBA, college basketball, and college football. Thank you again, and see you next week.